Wood smoke curled delicately from the tiny chimney of a small cottage, tucked between the great oaks and elegant willows in the woodland on top of the hill. The sky was grey, the air thick with damp, and though the green shoots of spring were flourishing in the wet, they cried out for sunshine and tried to shrug off the remaining traces of winter. Inside the cottage, the hedgehog was studiously reading from a dusty tome from her cosy armchair near a roaring fire. She'd been reading like this for days, occasionally stopping to take notes, then delving deeper back into the literature. The book was an encyclopaedia of art, from the cave wall paintings of Chauvet to Da Vinci's Italian Renaissance, from the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood to Lichtenstein. If there was anything to know about art, the chances were it would be in this book. She was an artist, in soul and profession. She painted and performed and worked tirelessly for her craft. Sometimes she had asked the mole to help her by holding her paints or stretching a canvas, but she was the artist. She was reading a chapter about the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel and the works of Michelangelo. She read how it took him 5 years to complete, how he worked tirelessly and created a work of art which changed the direction of art forever. She longed for the day when she and Mole would see it with their own eyes. She knew they would someday, but they would have to find time amongst their other adventures and times at home. In the kitchen, the Mole was busying over the stove. He was slowly stirring a pot on a low heat, delicately folding the thickening liquid with a wooden spoon. He stood absorbed in the task, the custard thickening with every turn of the implement. "Mole!" A voice rang out from the direction of the fireplace. "Mole, can you put another log on the fire?" The hedgehog, absorbed in her reading, had caught a chill from the open window, and the fire needed tending to. She was in the middle of a difficult chapter, and she really couldn't be distracted. The mole turned the heat down on the stove and swiftly dashed from the kitchen, across the living room, opening the front door and stepping out over to the log store. He tucked a couple of logs under his arm, stepped back inside and out of the rain and fastened the door behind him. Within a few moments he had stepped across the room and laid the logs delicately in the grate. The flames immediately licked across their surface, and a wave of heat washed over both of the small woodland creatures. Distracted, and now a little cold, the mole stood by the fire and warmed his paws. He looked over at the hedgehog and smiled. He liked to see her like this, absorbed in her passion and focusing completely on her reading. "The custard!" the mole exclaimed as he dashed back to the kitchen, swerving around the furniture gymnastically. The hedgehog said, absent-mindedly. The thick, luxurious custard the mole had left on the stove just a few moments earlier had turned into a lumpy, gloopy mess. It looked thoroughly unappetizing. He put the pan in the sink, ran some hot water into it, and left it to soak. The custard was ruined. He trudged dejectedly back into the living room and fell into his armchair. The hedgehog, not ignorant of his mood, looked up. "What's wrong, Mole?" the hedgehog said. "The custard. It's ruined," the mole replied bitterly. "Never mind, Mole. It's only custard." The mole sighed, and with it, all of his frustrations and irritations were expelled. He began to laugh, and the hedgehog began to laugh too. Together they laughed, and as they took each other's paws, they felt a warm surge of peace and happiness. There is no love like the love between an artist and a poet. No love like the love between a hedgehog and a mole.